You know it's gonna be hot.
Welcome to the Bridge the Gap podcast with your hosts, Dr. Don and Khalif, a hip-hop influenced father and son duo, bridging the gap, one conversation at a time.
All right, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Dr. Don. Who you be?
Yo, it's your boy Leaf, man.
Yeah, you sure, man?
Yeah.
All right, man. So, I mean, we've been doing this for a minute, man. I know we be talking about a lot of things, hip hop and all of these things. And one of the questions that I had for you is, what the hell does DJ Khaled do? Right, he dropped a new album. Did you listen to it?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I listened to some of the stuff. I guess we can talk about how you felt about it later. But the question that I still have is, what does he like? What's his job? Like, what does he do?
Well, from what I know, he started off as a DJ and all that stuff in Miami, but that's obvious in DJ Khaled. But the first thing I like to say about Khaled is he's a hit maker.
But I'm saying, hit maker, how is he making those beats or something?
That's what I'm confused. I think he has made beats and he has produced songs, but he also collabs a lot with other producers and artists. So the line kind of gets blurry. But yeah. Currently with like the albums he's been doing, it's just him. He's kind of like an A&R. He gets people who he thinks would sound good together and puts them on a record, like people who you might not think would be on a record together, and he puts them together because he's Khaled and he has that type of pull.
All right, so on his whole album, it's his album just because he brought people together? Like he didn't write, he didn't produce. Like what?
It's like what is it called? The Clue mixtapes and stuff, like where certain DJs or something will put out a mixtape or a project of a bunch of different songs.
Yeah, are you talking about like Clue mixtapes from back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Clue was putting together like artists on his mixtapes, but it seems like what DJ Khaled is doing is different.
In what way?
Yeah, I don't know. Like and so is that what his job is? Because I'm like, yo, what? I'm trying to understand. I'm like, is he producing the beats and then all of these people are like, performing on his beats? Or if he's just bringing people together to like, hey, come on and join with me on my album and be in a song together.
I'm pretty sure he has produced beats. But like if you listen now, a lot of the records will have another producer tag on it. So now I think he just plays like in I don't know how to say it. Like he just overlooks everything and brings everything together. That's what I would say currently. And it usually has worked, but I don't know. These last two Khaled projects have been kind of trash.
Yeah, I'm saying. So I was listening to the last one. I mean, granted, like the hard part about it is like if you hear a Khaled song every now and again, hearing him say another one, DJ Khaled. All right, you hear it once, but when you listen into the whole album, and it says that like the every song is like, all right, bro, I get it. And so that's why I was like, yo, he must be producing these joints or something if he's saying his name in the beginning of every song. But I don't know, man. So you think it's trash?
Yeah, man. Now it just feels like it feels like it's like he just gets the artists that he can get like just because of who he is. Like it doesn't sound like there's any real kind of decisions being made on what would really sound best or anything like that. It's just like, oh, you're a big artist, I can get you two together, I'm gonna put y'all on a song. It don't sound like how it used to be, where it used to be like, oh, I can see how he saw these two, brought them together, and then made this. Now it just feels like he's getting people to record a hook or a verse and then just put them together. And it's not. It doesn't come out. It doesn't come out well.
Yeah, I
Like,
just I see. I
yeah,
wasn't sure how I should be listening to the album because I mean I was listening to it and it just seemed and I'm not hating on anybody, like if he eating, let him eat. I really like his energy or whatever. The hard part was that listening to it, and I know it's a compilation album, but it just seemed like the songs were kind of all over the place, if that makes sense.
yeah, it's definitely not cohesive at all. But yeah, it's like everybody, like it was a joke on Twitter. It's like people might have a beef with Khaled because it's like everybody just gives him some mid-level verses. It's like he has a song with Jay-Z and Nas, and that wasn't even like, it was cool, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't anything crazy.
All right, man. Well. Speaking of crazy, I mean, you know that one of my favorite current hip hop artists is J. Cole. And originally he said he was dropping May 14th.
Yeah.
He was planning on dropping the album all at once. Then he said, forget it. And he's dropping something tonight, the interlude. What are you anticipating?
I'm anticipating Cole rapping like he's not where he is in terms of legacy. I'm anticipating him rapping like he's putting out a project and he's trying to make it still. Like one of his older projects, Friday Night Lights, Warm Up, whatever. But like I expect I'm hoping that he's rapping like he's still trying to prove himself or he has something to prove. And I think for the last two pack he dropped, I think that was pretty good and it was in the right direction. So I'm hoping he continues to go down that path.
Yeah, see, for me, I like the fact that he doesn't like drop a new song every day, right?
Yeah.
And so like you anticipate like, all right, he's coming with some heat, you know what I mean? And actually, you said Friday Night Lights. I was listening to Friday Night Lights today, and I mean his warmer. I always thought his his mixtapes were dope. I mean, originally I thought his mixtapes were better than some of his first original studio projects, but I mean on those mixtapes, he was hungry, man. He sounded hungry, and that's what I expect, man. I want him to be hungry. I want him to drop something that's just gonna be out there and just set him. He already set apart from the rest, but I just need him to help me and cleanse my ears, man, from a lot of the stuff that I've been listening to. So I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, aside from just Cole and his music, I'm hoping that this is like the first stage of people starting to drop music again. Because with COVID, I mean, people drop projects, but people, especially like the bigger acts, weren't taking music as serious or weren't putting stuff out. So I'm hoping, like we already have Drake was supposed to drop earlier this year, but I think he's coming soon. TDE, they were hinting at stuff, and I'm just hoping that more people start to drop, because yeah.
Yeah, Drake, man. I mean, I know you got to stick with what you got to stick with, but sometimes his stuff is not inspiring. I'm not gonna lie.
What does that mean?
I mean, not that I'm looking for his music to motivate me. It's like, I don't know. It's like it's nothing different. I can't explain it. I mean, like he does what he does and he does it well, but it's just like, it's like he doesn't try anymore. If that makes sense. It's like he doesn't spit like he's hungry. Like, matter of fact, on Friday Night Lights, the joint with him and Cole, kind of hit it in the morning. Like, I mean, he not like spitting crazy, like hungry on there, but like he's spitting. You know what I mean? He not singing. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Drake hasn't. He hasn't been. I just want a Drake album where he's just rapping, but I don't think we're gonna get that. So
Yeah, I mean, like he knows where he fits in. He knows his lane. He knows his lane.
Can't be mad at it.
Nah, but I mean, it's whatever. But what about? So it was this other podcast, and that came out. It was like, did I ever tell you the story about? That's the name of it, or something like. Did I ever tell you the story about? And so this first season is dedicated to the one and only, none other than Big Daddy Kane. And so
You said what's dedicated to him? The whole season?
This whole season of this podcast. I mean, I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. They released the first 2. I mean, of course, I was interested, but I think if people listen to what he went through to kind of get to that space, I mean, I think
who's it done by? Like fans or
no? It's I forgot the name of it. It's like a podcast company, and they do it in immersive sound design. Like, so it sounds crazy. But yeah, I listened to the first 2. So of course, I'm a Big Daddy Kane fan. And so just hearing some of the backstory, some of the stuff that I didn't know is really dope. So yeah, so this first season is going to be dedicated to Big Daddy Kane. Shout out to BDK. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you had something on here real quick again. Talking about Floyd.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Money Mayweather.
And
well, June 6th, he's fighting Logan Paul, who is a famous YouTuber, social media influencer. And
is he's not the one who fought Nate Robinson, right?
Nah, that's Jake Paul, his brother.
Okay.
So yeah, they're fighting, and people are I've seen people say that doing fights like this is like kind of messing up boxing as a sport, because it's like it's not serious anymore.
I mean, it's a charity bout, man. They trying to eat, man. Like, I mean, you think about it, like there hasn't been like any big, like, entertaining boxing matches like in the past year or so for with COVID, and so Floyd Money Mayweather, like, he know how to find the green bills anywhere.
Yeah.
And so he'll come out of retirement and do this for a little extra change.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't go against his record. So, because it's like marked as a exhibition. So,
yeah, I mean, and then the other part about that is people gonna watch.
Yeah.
Is it on pay-per-view?
I think so. Yeah, but who was it? It was Floyd got into a little, I don't know, altercation, scuffle with with Jake Paul today, and people was going crazy about that. So it's definitely gonna get views.
A scuffle for what?
Oh, I don't know. They were like standing in front of each other, talking to each other, and like Jake snatched his hat off, and then whatever, just a bunch of, I don't know, shenanigans.
Yeah, but and how are these people famous?
YouTube.
I know, but what do they do on YouTube?
Dude, I don't watch them. The vlogs, I'm guessing pranks, challenges, all that type of stuff. But yeah,
I guess
I think they got like over 10 million followers each. So,
and so they're famous for, and you don't even know why.
I know it's off of YouTube, but I never watched them.
Okay.
But yeah, but yeah, the thing that's in the back of my head is what if freaking Floyd somehow loses this?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, you always run that chance somebody could get a lucky punch just fighting, bro.
Man. If Floyd somehow, oh my God, because I already don't like the Paul brothers, because yeah, but I don't know. What's next?
I mean, it's a possibility. Like I said, like anytime you get in the ring, anybody could get punched. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could get a punch off, and it just happened to land. Hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, anybody could win. But on to a more serious topic. I mean, you brought up like this whole idea of money in the Black community, and I mean, I was on this joint in Clubhouse and they were talking about, I think the room is called like Make It Make Black Sense or something like that. And they were talking about like investing and all of this stuff. And I was talking with some brothers today about like just investing and like what they wish they knew um, back then, because like now, I guess it's not necessarily too late for them, but it's like they're learning stuff right now, like in their late 30s, 40s, that would have benefited them if they knew it like when they were like 18, man. And so when you talk about like money in the Black community, like what are you thinking about?
Just the way we I don't the way we look at money, the way we spend money, the way we invest or don't invest money. I think well, for me, I started technically investing like March of last year. But I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't take it serious until probably like December of last year. And I've learned a lot, and I've tried to you know teach some people about stuff, and it was harder than expected. Like to just
Wait, what was harder than expected?
convincing people to invest money and trying to make money.
I mean, what was the difficulty?
It's like the hesitance, or like they're not really willing to, or they don't take it serious. Like it's not a priority.
But I'm saying, are you talking about like young people? Or are you talking about
Uh,
your peers?
Young people, my mother, but you know,
Yeah, I'm saying. So this is the thing, right? When you talk about like investing, like people are weary of it, specifically as we start to talk about like like digital or cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. That's hitting right now. And I think for some people, and I mean, I can't speak to your people, your age, like young cats, but I can. I mean, when I think about me, and I can't even say my generation, but I can talk about like the people who grew up where I grew up. Like investing was never taught. Like my parents ain't know nothing about no investing. I don't think anybody in my neighborhood, or I don't remember any conversations about investing. I know people who didn't even believe in putting their money in banks and would just have like the mattress bank or the shoebox bank, right? I saw people making money, doing some street pharmaceuticals and stuff like that, but I don't think anybody knew necessarily about investing, right? No one was taught us about compound interest. Like we learned all of these other things in school, but like learning about like how to make your money work for you would have been a beautiful thing to know back then.
yeah. And I think back then it's more understandable to get into investing. It wasn't as easy as it is now. Now you can literally create a Robinhood account for free. If you got some money, you can invest in anything you want. And I think people, like, it's not that hard. Like, even if you want to just do a basic level, like just put money into something that's almost like a savings account, but it grows. Like, it doesn't take that much research for that. It literally takes like one or two YouTube videos to just watch, and then you have that under control. But another thing that I was I was thinking about, I was talking to Andre, my friend Andre, the other day, and he's Asian. And he resells sneakers and does stuff like that. So he has money. And he just turned 18. And so, he likes to buy shoes, jewelry, stuff like that. But I'm telling him to invest money. And we're talking, and like throughout the conversation, like he's just saying stuff that uh that his family does, or stuff like that, that is like something that in our community it doesn't happen often. Like he was talking about he's had a credit card like with his mom since he was like a freshman in high school, this and that, uh savings accounts, this and all that type of stuff. His brother's investing. And it just made me think and realize how that stuff we don't do that stuff that often in our communities.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I mean, part of it is being in the know and getting access. Like that, I didn't know about investing until I got a real job. One, and it was just through like my TIAA CREF, retirement account. Like that was my entree into investing, and I wasn't necessarily looking at how stuff was moving. Like you get in, you put in the year, okay, I'm trying to retire by the age of 65. They plot it out so you get on the 20, 50 or whatever cycle when you're gonna be out, and you can like put it in aggressive options early. Then as you get closer and closer to the retirement age, you get more and more conservative. But like I'm not like I wasn't in the mix and looking at what was happening in there. It was just invested in different portfolios, and I just watched it to see if it grew. And then there were certain points where I mean my check wasn't that lovely to even be able to put like my own money in, right? Like I was fortunate to have a job that put in, I think like 5% or something like that, and it would match you up to a certain point. And so if it wasn't for that, like I probably wouldn't have had anything in that account for years, because I didn't know about it, and I didn't have like that type of money to be put in I didn't think I had enough money to be putting it away. I had like 4 little Negro children. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was just interesting, and I think it's something that we should start taking more seriously, because I've been investing for a little bit, and I've made a good chunk of change.
So but
what?
all right. So what made you decide to start investing?
I don't know what it was actually. I remember. I feel like that's just with something with having free time in the pandemic, wanting to make money, because I was already into trying to sell shoes or whatever. I guess I just wanted to know how to make money, make more money. And I think my barber, they posted a group, an investing group. I was like, what is this? And I looked into it, and it was like $10 a month. I joined it, and it was very confusing at first for someone who never did anything like that. But once I took it seriously, I did all my information research, whatever, and I started building my foundation. And yeah.
I'm saying, and so when you think about or hear about investing, a lot of people think that you got to start with mad money in the system, or like, you got to put in mad G's into your Robinhood account, right? And I think I opened up a Robinhood account like just to be like, I don't know too much about this. I'll start it off. I think I started it off like with $150 just to play around with it and see what was happening. I mean, you couldn't really buy a lot with $150 other than like like your penny stocks and stuff like that. I did eventually get some Doge.
Yes, sir.
I still don't understand cryptocurrency, but I got a book list and everything and some sites to look at. But like, I mean, did you start out with something little?
As far as money?
Yeah, like your first, like you said, it's confusing. You got an account, you're gonna start it off, and you made a chunk of change. But what was the initial skin in the game that you put in? Like you put in $100. I was like, I got put in $100 and see
It
what
was probably something around there, even less. Because I mean, I had a job until I had to quit, but it was like I didn't have money like that, and then if I didn't know what I was doing, I wasn't gonna put a whole bunch of money in. But over time, got some more checks or whatever.
Yeah, but so you said this since December, so that's like what?
That's
4
when
or
I
5
was
months?
taking it serious.
Okay.
I started in March, and I started to take it serious and put more money in December.
Mm-hmm.
And then since then, shout out to Doge. it's been growing.
Yeah, I mean, it has. It definitely has. It caught me off guard when I went into my freaking Robinhood app, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Yeah.
And and it does. You do learn a lot because I had some Doge, and it went up. This was when I bought when it was like a penny, and it went up to like 8 or 9 or 10 cents, and I thought that was like I made money, and I thought that was a lot of money. So I sold more than half of it. I think I had like maybe like close to 30,000 shares, and now I sold like 20,000 of those. So I mean I it was I profited, but if I would have kept that and had it now, I would be up a whole lot more.
Yeah, I mean, there was this dude. I was just looking at. Man, where was this article? But I was looking at this article, and it was on CNBC. And so this dude, he some months ago, he had like some retirement funds or whatever, something like that, and he dropped his life savings and all of that into Doge, and I think it was like about $180,000 worth on February 5th, and that's when it was priced at about 4.5 cents. And so right now, what is it priced at?
Probably 50 something, 60.
You see what I'm saying? And so, he's saying he became a Dogecoin millionaire at the age of 33. Put $180,000 in there, his retirement and all of that, whatever what it was. On February 5th, he put in $180,000 at 4.5 cents. And now it's like, yo, that's bananas, man.
Yeah, but it's stuff like that. People say all the time, all it takes is one call, one play to, really get your money up. And I think the more people start to get into it and learn, I think we got a whole lot of more people with money.
And so what are your goals?
My goals are to well, my initial goal was to just have enough money to pay off my my loans when I graduate. And I think I hit that goal. Like if I were to graduate right now, I could pay it off. But what I'm hoping, I'm hoping Biden comes through and knocks off like just a little bit of something, so I won't have to do that and have it for other stuff. But yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's interesting. So, what do you like? What would you tell people, right, about the process? Like, I mean, it's one thing to kind of to do it, just open up an account, but then, in hip hop, people talk about, you got to do the knowledge, right? You got to know the ledge, and so what are ways that you would tell like your peers or other young folks, or hell, even old cats, like how to go about getting invested?
I think I'd just say that it doesn't take a lot to get started or to learn. I mean, people spend all day on their phones as it is. If you take an hour out of a day and watch a video on just how to get started, you'll learn a lot in that amount of time. As far as like the actual investing, if you don't know what you're doing yet, I'd just put your money into some like research a good ETF or something like that. Put your money in.
You saying ETF? Nobody know ETF is, man.
ETF is it's basically like one, I guess, stock that you could invest into that is investing in a bunch of other stocks at the same time. So yeah, it's like instead of buying going to the store and buying one apple, buy a bag of apples that, it's multiple. So you're buying one stock, but it's investing in a bunch of others. And those usually go up a certain amount every year. So that's a good place to start. Don't put all your money into one thing. Like, don't just invest a bunch of money into Doge. Then, yeah. But
I think I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I look at Robinhood, because again, like Robinhood wasn't my place of like serious investing. I put a little change in there, and probably 75% of my current Robinhood is in Doge.
Okay, that's not like one, like, yeah, but it's like mine is like, I think mine is at least like maybe 50%, but that's just because it was cheap and I could buy a bunch of them. But yeah, so that's normal, but definitely have other investments.
Yeah, I think I got 79% in Doge. Yeah,
or at least like an emergency fund or something. But yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, when I think about it, like, if I would have put, if and ands were pots and pans, the world would be in kitchen, right? So I can be like, if I just would have did this and dropped this money in there, because, like, for what I invested in Doge, like right now, like I've made the return has been like 216%.
Mm-hmm. I think,
but I didn't put no serious money in there.
My return is 2,400.
2,000%?
Yeah.
Bruh.
But it doesn't take a lot. That one, that's like one of my lucky plays. If I didn't have Doge, I mean, I would still grow some, but it would be on a much smaller scale.
So what do you tell people now who, and again, hopefully people ain't, we're not professional folks, so
yeah,
whatever we saying,
make your own decisions.
So all right, so you on there, you see is making dough, and people talking about like it could go up again. When do you decide to sit? Or when, like, what's that song by Kenny Rogers? Know when to hold them and know when to fold them. When do you fold?
Well, if I was the same person I was 3 months ago or something, or in January, I probably would have sold. Today, I probably would have sold what I have now, but I learned from when I sold like 20,000 shares at 10 cents, and now it's obviously at 50, 60, that I'm gonna just hold it and ride it, because I have money in my regular bank account too, so it's not like I need the money right now. But yeah, so I'm just hold it, see where it goes. Hopefully it gets to $1.
Yeah, I mean, I think the crazy thing is, I was on, like I said, I was on one of those joints in what do you call it? Oh, in Clubhouse, and this dude was telling his Bitcoin story, that he won a contest and they gave him like 2 Bitcoin, and I forgot what it was worth at the time that he won, but let's say it got up to the point where he had 3 Bitcoin, and he was like, yo, this is crazy. So he cashed out and got like 14,000. And so if you hold that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the part. But I mean, you don't know.
I mean, what in the group that I'm in, the main guy who runs it, he says, if you have any major payments or anything like that, go ahead and cash out and take care of what you need to take care of. But if you're gonna be all right and it's room for it to grow, just hold it a little bit more. So that's what I've been doing. And if you hold your stocks for a year, that's like, because you do get taxed on stocks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
If you hold it for a year, the tax rate is a lot lower. So
yeah, I mean, so that's the other piece. why people got to do the knowledge, because you on there, you playing around.
Oh my gosh.
And doing all of this stuff, and you're like, yo, this is crazy, and thinking like it's some free joint. So, son.
Yeah. I had a little panic attack when I learned about that.
Why?
Because I've never done taxes or anything like that, and it was just something I didn't think about. But I haven't cashed out too much.
Yeah,
so
I don't play, man. The IRS will be playing around, man. But yeah, I mean, so people, do your knowledge. I mean, yo, if I knew how to do this stuff at the age of 20, 24 years ago, bananas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Compound interest would be real. And I want to give a shout out to my boy Eric Tate, because Eric Tate, like, I mean, he's been and always been, investing. And, when I had questions, he was like, always open for questions, and, gave me reading lists and stuff like that. And so, shout out to my man E. Tate.
You're listening to Bridge the Gap podcast with Dr. Don and Khalif, a father and son, bridging the gap, one conversation at a time.
Quick transition. I mean, one of the things that we haven't talked about, which I think is important to talk about, is all that was happening surrounding the Derek Chauvin case and the verdict. And the reason why it came back up for me is because, there was news that, they're filing an appeal or whatever, right? And so, like, on that day, I mean, I don't know I didn't watch the trial or anything like that. I didn't put myself through that. But were you paying attention to the case?
I would see like little clips on social media after someone might say something important, but no, I just don't put myself in the position where I could be disappointed or stressed out or something like that over something that I really can't control. So I mean, when the verdict came out, it was like, it was good, I guess, but it was like I didn't feel happy or anything. It was just okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I felt happy. I think I was on Zoom or whatever. Clearly, a lot of us are doing meetings on Zoom, and so I'm on Zoom, and I got the dual screens, and so on one screen it pops up that the jury has reached a verdict and it's going to be read, whenever court resumes. And at that point in time, I got mad nervous, like my stomach, like instantly when I read that, like I felt like my stomach like tighten and have like that weird feeling in it, and
Yeah.
like and I had it like in my chest, like, oh my god, because like I was just like, yo, all right, it's kind of quick. I mean, I think they got to find him guilty of something. I wasn't sure because I know people were ready to set it off. Like if he wasn't found guilty, like people were ready to set it off. And my fear was that it was going to be worse than the summer of 2020. And then when they read the verdict, I was like, okay. I mean, I was shocked. But then, like I said, like I didn't feel anything. There was no joy. People were like, George Floyd got justice. I don't think George Floyd got justice because George Floyd is no longer here. George Floyd has passed on. God bless his soul. And people talked about, it was accountability. And the other part is that like at the end of the day, there's really no winner, right? Because George Floyd's family and his daughter, they have to go on without him, right? And even Chauvin's family, they have to go on without him, right? Like, and so, like, nobody necessarily wins in this case. I don't think.
Yeah, nobody wins, but I don't know. It was just like I didn't. I mean, I was I wouldn't be surprised if they said not guilty just because, of the history and this country and all that. But it was like, I didn't think there was any way for them to not find him guilty of something. I thought they might have just found him guilty of one or two of the lesser charges or something like that. But it was like this is I think the biggest case or something of this sort, just because everything that happened, everybody was at home. There was no real way for you uh to not convict him of something. Or so yeah, I don't know. And I don't want to say that that went into the decision, but if, like you said, if they did not find him guilty of anything, it would have been it would have been crazy.
Yeah, and
But
and it's hard to say. I hosted a panel for my university, and we had lawyers on there, had former police officers on there, I had a sitting judge on there, social workers, you know, criminal justice professors, kind of talking about this issue. And, the judge was talking about, the jury and, how people select juries and what they're supposed to do in that case. But it's in the age of social media, it's hard to pick a jury that's not, that doesn't know what's going on. I don't know what
yeah,
rock you had to be under to not know what was happening, surrounding, George Floyd's murder. And so, it'll be interesting to see what they do with this appeal, because I think they're going to say that they should have moved it to another county. If they moved it to another county, he would have got a fairer trial. But even in that other county, bruh, people still know about it. And so it's difficult, man. It's difficult to say that people only did it because they didn't want stuff to pop off in our country. But the other part about it is, I just lost my train of thought, was that, people ask if the activism that we saw in the streets, if that helped get the conviction, right? Did people see what happened in the summer of 2020 and were like, I don't want no parts of that? Did that lead to the conviction? I mean, we don't know.
yeah, I think it did. I don't think there's any way that it can't, because it's like, what happened, and no matter how fair you try to be, in the back of your mind, what would happen if that didn't, you know. But it is. I guess it is what it is. It's just with these situations, you kind of had to hope for the best and prepare for the worst. But it's like, you want to like celebrate, or like you want to feel good, but it's like you can't, because yeah, he got convicted, but like you said, George Floyd still isn't here, and none of that changes. So
I think that's the other part, right? Like when you say hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And that was the thing. Like some people were celebrating, right? And some people were, mocking people for celebrating. Like, yo, y'all celebrating me. Y'all know this don't mean anything. This is just one thing. We know that. Like, if you've been in this country long enough or understand the history of this place, we know that. Like, we know that this does not mean that the system is forever changed. We know that. However, it's also okay for people to take a break and celebrate a small win. Celebrate a small win. It's all right. Like, you don't got to be so woke that you can't celebrate a small win. That's the part that's frustrating. It's like people are shaming other people's joy. Yo, if people want to take to the streets and be happy and celebrate, let them be. Like, you don't have to tell black people that the system is not forever changed as a result of this.
okay,
Most people know that.
yeah, I get that, and I think I agree with that. But to just play devil's advocate, um, what is being celebrated?
the fact that an officer got convicted in the court of law for killing a black person, right? And so even with the video that that people saw, which I still haven't seen, right? The 9 minutes and I don't remember how many seconds. It doesn't matter because it was too long. People saw that video. There was evidence, right? And still, people questioned whether or not he would be found guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, some people were like, "Oh no, it's open and shut case," and it's like, I'm not sure what country you've existed in prior to this moment, but it's never an open and shut case when it comes to officer involved killings, right? And I mean, that was the thing. Like, people just didn't know. Even with all of this evidence, part of being a person of color or a black person in this country is feeling that even when everything is lined up and looks like it's on the way to being a great outcome, whatever that great outcome may be, the system can still snatch it away from you, right? And so when people say, what are people celebrating? For them, they look at it as a win. You know, for those who feel that it was justice and accountability, because it's something that they don't often see, like a police officer being held accountable for murdering an unarmed black person. Similar to, you know, what happened, you know, this is before you were born in 1995 with the O.J. Simpson case, when people were celebrating O.J. getting off. People ain't really give a damn about O.J. People forgot about O.J. long before that. But it was like he didn't go to jail and they felt that the system worked, right? Like, you had these racist cops who were involved in the case. And so people celebrated. Nobody was celebrating OJ.
Hold on. Did y'all believe he did it or not at the time?
Yo, I don't even know. I don't know what I believed. I don't know if I believed he did it or he didn't do it. I remember I was an RA in college, sophomore year, second floor, Van Ness Hall. I think it may have been like a floor of maybe 60 college males. And maybe 2 of us on the floor were black. Me and I think Mike Bruni were black. We had everybody had their doors open. And when they read the verdict, like, you heard the sound in the hallway, like, oh, like all of the white students were like, oh, and I'm in my room like, yes. Now, again, I didn't know whether or not OJ did it, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't celebrating OJ. I had no affinity to this dude, but it was like celebrating a win in the system somehow, some way. That's how we viewed it back then. And so I mean, I can't speak on if people think he did it or not. He got off, and and people celebrated because they celebrated it because they felt it was a small win within the system. Because when the Rodney King verdict happened, we had video evidence of cops beating the living hell out of this dude in the street, and they all got acquitted. And that set something off. And so that's why, like, when people talk about, oh, we got the video, it's an open and shut case, it's never an open and shut case when it comes to us. And so that's the fear. That's the delay in any joy, because you just got to wait and make sure it's real. Like, even hell, like, another example of being black in this country is when Barack Obama won. Like, I remember being in the ballroom in Syracuse, you know, as we were watching the numbers come in, and it said Barack Obama was elected president. I read it, but it took a good 5 seconds for it to set in, right? Mm-hmm. And then after, I think it was during the inauguration, or even before the inauguration, when he came out after they won and he gave a speech, I was nervous. Right? Because I was like, I wonder if the system of white supremacy is going to take this away from us. On the inauguration day, when they get out the car and start walking down the street, I was nervous. Yeah. Thinking if the system of white supremacy was going to steal this away from us. And I think that's part of being black. It's not what being black is. It's part of the black experience to where you're slow to celebrate because you just don't know what the possibilities are, man. So I don't know. I don't know if people think OJ did it or not, but
Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's one of the biggest. This joint was one of the biggest cases in our lifetime. Like it's not that the system of racism has gotten worse or anything like that. It's just that the system of racism is visible. Martin Luther King and them cats didn't have social media. You know what I mean? So it's visible now. But so like for y'all, like people your age, what are y'all doing around these things? Like what are the conversations like around like incidents like the murder of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor? Like what are conversations like with your group?
What are the conversations like? I don't know. It's like it's not. I mean, it's hard to say because this was the first time that I I think that I was. Yeah, this is the first time I've been an adult and something like this has happened on this scale, and everybody was inside. So it wasn't like it happened and then we're going to school the next day. So I didn't. I mean, we see interactions on social media, what other people are posting, but for me, that was. I mean, yeah, for me, it was social media. It was. I saw people I'm cool with, people I follow out there protesting. You got a bunch of people sharing all these posts. You got everybody posting a black square on their timeline that one Tuesday in the summer. Um, but yeah, um, I didn't. I mean, I wasn't out there protesting, so I didn't get to feel it like in person. But on social media, it was definitely like I feel like it was a cool at least a week, but it was probably more than that. Just of that's almost all you saw. You know, people sharing all these things, people, and it's not for me to determine, but it was like it was weird to look at some of the people posting certain things because it's like I know you, I know how you've acted before, and like a lot of it seemed like it was just it almost turned into like a trend. Like you saw people out there protesting, taking videos, making TikToks, taking pictures, all that. And so it while it was serious, it kind of got turned into a whole other thing at the same time. But yeah.
Man, I think in certain ways it turned into a trend for a lot of people. And so if we think about, you talked about social media, but if we think about like the corporate posts, right? Like what the corporate statements that were released, saying Black Lives Matter. Like, okay. Like that became the thing for people to do. Like for everyone to release a statement, universities to release a statement, companies to release a statement, Netflix to have strong Black lead, different things like that, where that became the thing to do. And so it did become a trend because for some, they didn't want to seem like they were on the wrong side of history. And it became a very performative act to say, hey, look at me, I'm good. Whether or not you really believe these things, all right? So I think it's going to be interesting to see. And I said this before, I don't remember what I was on, but it's going to be interesting to see that as we come up on the year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd.
When is that?
I believe it happened in May, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And so when we think about the year in review and we look at all of these places, all of these institutions, all of these corporations, all of these people who made these posts articulating and shouting from the tops of their lungs or the hills that they stood on, their virtual signaling hills, what has changed? Like, what has changed for people in their companies? Does it look any different? Have your policies and practices changed? Like that's going to be the telling piece, because it's easy to be out there saying, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter, because you know it's going to technically help your bottom line. You coming out there and showing, you know, like that you're supporting the people, but that has anything changed in your organization? I mean, I think that's going to be the real question that we need to ask. It's nice to post. It's nice to, exclaim or claim that Black Lives Matter, but do your actions show that Black Lives Matter, you know?
Yeah. And I think, not saying that they're right in doing it, but I think that's where a lot of the people who you might say is like stopping other people from celebrating, I think that's kind of where they come from. It's like it's a scam or something, where it's just they feel like nothing is really changing. So I kind of know where they're coming from on that.
All right, so I got a question for you. All right, so as we close, I got this question for you. Right, so you identify as a Black man?
Yeah.
All right, so let's say I got a magic wand and you have an option. I say you can continue your life as a Black man in 2021, or go back in time to be a Black man in 1921. Which one would you prefer?
Okay, I prefer.
I'm not thinking about technology or anything like that. Just in your existence.
What do you mean?
Just in your existence as a Black man. Like, would you rather be a Black man in 1921 in the United States or in 2021 in the United States?
I'm pretty sure 2021.
And why is that?
Because things are different.
But people who say that things aren't different.
Yeah.
So things are different, or they're not?
It's a mixture of both. I'm trying to think of a good analogy or example.
Yeah, so I think that there are things that still need work. But when people say that there's no difference, and again, I'm probably running this quote into the ground, but I was on the panel and this dude said his mentor said that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. Right? History doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. So it sounds similar, it looks similar. I mean, some of the things are similar, but if we were to sit here and say that nothing has changed since 1921, I don't think that's honest.
I don't think anybody's saying that,
bruh.
But it's like what you say whenever we get a new video game.
What?
What's different? It's the same thing.
The video game. It looks the same.
And now usually we disagree with you and we tell you certain things that they change, but it's kind of like the same thing. It's like
it's very similar.
Yeah.
History doesn't repeat itself; it rhymes. It's very similar, and so certain systems are in place, and absolutely. And I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just saying, like, I'd rather be a Black man in America in 2021 than I would in 1921 or 1821, because things have changed. However, again, that's not saying that we need to be all some kumbaya, holding hands and running, because systems are still in place. Systems are still in place. But when people say nothing has changed, things have changed, but there's still a lot of similarities in the things that are happening right now. I don't know. Well, you go back to 1921. You enjoy yourself. Send me a text. Oh, no, you can't send me a text.
You know what it is.
Thank you for listening to the Bridge the Gap podcast. Subscribe, give a 5-star review, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Now, turn it up.